to the channel. I'm Ricky Myers, and this is the Action Thriller Collector. Come on in. Got my cup of joe today. And guess what we're celebrating today on March 6th? March 6th is the release date anniversary for Jack CARR's first book, his debut book on the scene, The Terminal List. I have it right here. You know what that is. That glare is my Brodart protective cover. But The Terminal List by Jack CARR, released on March 6, 2018. 7 years. Wow, 7 years has passed. And what have we got? We've got, since then, in the James REECE universe, we have 7 books. We have the Amazon Prime series, The Terminal List, and now in 2025, we're going to have the prequel story, Dark Wolf, and we're also going to have Jack's first cutaway novel on Tom REECE, James REECE's father, called HAVOC. So we're not there yet as far as, say, the Clancy's James Ryan universe, but Jack CARR is quickly building up the James REECE universe. And one thing different for me anyway, my ride on this is I didn't come in at the very beginning of Clancy. I think I started around Patriot Games. Then I worked my way backwards, and then the movies started coming out. But with Jack CARR, I've been here since day one. It was I'll tell you quickly. It was random. I was just at the library looking for something and couldn't really find what I was looking for. But I'm like, okay, what's over here in this new section? Brand spanking new. It was Jack CARR Terminal List. And I'm like, I read the opening page. You know what? It might be fun to just read a few words of it right now. It didn't take a tactical genius to pick the spot. Boom, right there. Okay, I'm like, I'm gonna give this a try. Took it home, loved it. I was hooked. I've been a fan ever since. I've purchased every book as soon as I knew that they were coming out. Amazon pre-order, and I've been along for the ride, and what a ride it has been. But I was thinking about this. What makes Jack CARR currently my favorite author, and he has been for a while now? And I'm like, okay, of course it's the books, the stories, right? That's one part of it. But the other part has to be the way in which you can interact with Jack CARR. He is doing things no author has ever done before with his social media presence, his YouTube podcast, his treating his book tours as if they were concert tours, even creating shirts for you, just like the old bands would come to town and would list all the cities, It's just Jack has been able to connect with his fans in a way that no author I've ever seen has been able to do this. And I would say, hey, if you're a new author, take note. This is the model that you should use to be successful. Because thinking back to the 70s and the 80s, you hardly knew anything about the authors of books. Tom Clancy was one of the first to actually do interviews on television, so you could see a little bit more about him. But for the most part, I'm thinking of guys like Nelson DeMille. I didn't know anything about Nelson DeMille. It was like some great secret. Who wrote these books? David Morrell. I felt the same way. I knew that he wrote these books. I liked him, but there was no way that you could ever have contact with David Morrell. Now that has changed. David will have contact with you on Facebook. I've had him, I've commented back and forth with him on a couple of different things there. But no one has done it like Jack CARR when it comes to social media. And for a fan, I don't think, what can make your day any better than having Jack CARR acknowledge one of your comments on either his YouTube channel or on his Facebook or Instagram. And speaking of that, another thing that Jack did, he did a live stream where he just had an hour or so to kill, and he just starts taking questions. And man, people just start jumping on there and with their questions. And if you give him enough time, he'd work down to your question and actually answer your question. And I'm just like, no other author that I'm aware of is doing anything to the level that Jack CARR is. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so accessible to his fans. And that, coupled with the stories that he's writing, he's definitely right now my favorite author. So in celebration of the terminal list being 7 years old today, I thought I would run through a couple things and show you what I've got as far as the terminal list. And of course, when I show you this first printing, I have to show you that it is an autographed copy. Lucky enough to meet Jack CARR in Richmond, Virginia at this event right here, one day in October. And it was a memorial service with the governor of Virginia in attendance. And it was basically paying honor to the 10 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman that was killed in the Beirut barracks bombing in 1983. And then after this service, which Jack attended, there was a discussion with U.S. Navy SEAL and author Jack CARR. And at that point, you were able to ask Jack questions. It was a small room, probably maybe 50 people were in attendance. Jack answered every question everyone had. And then afterwards, people lined up, and whatever books that you brought with you, you could have Jack sign them. And that's where I got this first printing signed. So what else do I have? I have the audio, whatever you want to call these things, the audio, it's not tapes, but the CDs. And this one, you can see has the trident on the front of it. And that trident was removed once these things came out by order of the Department of Defense. But I've got it, and check it out. I finally added this one to my collection. I had a regular paperback without the trident, but I finally got the actual trident. So if you can find one of these, I recommend that you go out and get yourself one, because they're getting more and more scarce. And Jack has remarked about when people bring one of these with the trident on it to have him sign, he acknowledges that's a rare thing. You're seeing less and less of those. So I just wanted to share those items with you guys today on March 6th as we celebrate 7 years since the debut of Jack CARR in the literary world with the terminal list. Until next time, keep collecting.